Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in today to Izzy the Tech Guy. Today we'll be discussing how to complete a left join, and let's go ahead and look at the outline and see some of the things we will be covering. So we'll be using an AND clause today on the left join, and then we're going to also select certain columns from table on the left side, from the table on the left side and the table on the right side. And then after that, some checkpoints that we're going to have today. We're going to do two left join. We're going to do a left join to two tables, and then we're also going to do an inner join. So a total of three tables. One's going to be an inner join, and one's going to be a left join. So let's go ahead and get started and understand the concept behind left join. So the syntax is almost the same as the inner join. The only thing that you're changing is if you did use inner join in your syntax, you're changing that intersect portion to left. So it's basically select these columns from this table and do a left join to table 2, and this is what you're joining on. So again, it's almost exact same syntax as inner join, but a little difference in what words you use. So here, use left instead of inner. And so basic, what is a left join? When do you use the left join, and what does a left join do? So if you want everything, let's look at this diagram here that w3school has. So if you want everything in this table, and you don't really care if it's in this table or not, but you definitely want everything from this table, that's when you would use a left join. So it's like when you have table 1, and I want all the records in table 1, and I also want if they're connected to something in table 2 and if they're not. So it doesn't really matter. It might be something on table 2 that you want to check, but it's not important to have that. Now, if you do want, hey, only when it's connected to table 2, that's when you fall back to the inner join. So left join is where, hey, I want everything from table 1, and if it is connected to table 2, I like to see that as well. But if it's not, it doesn't matter. In W3school, what does it say here about the left join? Keyword returns all records from the left table, like we discussed, and the matching records from the right table. The result is 0 records from the right table side if there's no match. And basically what they're saying is, hey, if your condition doesn't meet anything in table 1, nothing's going to come back. But if it does meet in table 1 and it doesn't meet in table 2, it's still going to come back. And I'll go through the syntax, and that maybe that'll make more sense if it's not registering now. Okay. So here we have two demo tables. We have the customer table and the order table. So let's say, for example, you want to join to this customer, from this customer table to this order table, but you want everything about the customer. Let's say you want the customer's name, contact name, and address. But let's say this customer right here doesn't have an order. You'll still get the customer name, contact name, and address, but you'll get if they have an order or if they don't. And I'm going to jump into example here. Let's go to example. Again, this will start making more sense. So let's go ahead and run this. Well, let me explain what's happening here. So select from the customers table, we are selecting customer's name. And from the orders table, we're selecting orders ID. And we're doing from customer. Again, see, instead of inner join, we're saying left join orders. So from the customers joining to the orders, how are we joining? By customer ID. And we discussed some things that can happen in the world about where this customer ID, it shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately, that's how it is. This customer ID might not be the same exact information in this table. But again, that goes back to knowing the data. You'll hear me say that over and over in almost every single lesson because that's very important. So let's go ahead and run this. And then if you see here, we get the customer's name and we get the order ID. Now, if you look carefully, you have some here that actually have an order ID and some that do not. See that here? And the reason why is because these customers do not have an order. So that's why it's coming back null. Usually, it depends how your database is set up or how your result sets are set up to bring back. Sometimes it'll just be blank. Sometimes it'll say no, null. So it all depends on how it's scheduled. But if you see here, there's quite a bit that are null. So let's go back here, scroll up, and we're going to play with this a little bit more. So we are working with the orders table and customer. So what else would I want? So let's, from the customers table, let's say we want name. So we want the customer name. Oops, format that better. And then we also want the city, and we want the country. And then from the orders table, ID. And usually I'll do, yeah, I was going to do something else, but we'll leave that for another time. So we're doing from customer. And again, we discussed the aliases, but this time I'm not going to use the alias, but in previous lessons, I discussed about how to use aliases when you're doing the joins. But here, let's go to join. Oops, no, not join. Left join, excuse me. Left join. What are we joining to? Orders table. Orders. On what? On. And this is where I'm going to reference the table because we don't want to get the error message where this is ambiguously defined. Basically, where this record is in both tables and you didn't define which one is. Customer ID equals orders dot customer ID. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly here. Okay, and do we have our select statement? Yes, we do. Okay, I think we should be good, hopefully. Okay, so we're good. So we see here, we have the customer's name, the city, the country, and the order ID. So let's say, and then look at this, so Germany, Argentina, Germany, and then remember we discussed in this joins. So basically, let me explain here. So you got back everything you want, and again, you have some things as nulls here. That's just because this order, this customer ID, you know what, let me bring it back so we can play around with that as well. So I'm just adding the customer ID column here, just so we can have that in our results. So we see here, if we go to the orders table, we will not see customer ID 1. So let me show you that here so you can understand. Open the new tab. There we go. Open the new tab. And then we're going to do select star from. Format it here from orders where customer ID is less than, let's do 5, just so we can get a whole list and I can prove to you that customer ID number 1 is not in here. So run that. So you see here, every customer ID that's less than 5 is what we got back. And we see 2, 3, 4. See that here? But we don't have 1. So that's why in this section here, customer ID is null. And look at this here. This is pretty cool. Well, this is a perfect example. Now, they might, depending on what you want, it might be like, hey, I want the list of orders, or I want a count of how many orders this customer have. So usually here, you wouldn't get an order ID. From my experience, what I do see is count this. And we would, let's do a distinct. And let's say, for instance, there's just an issue with the table for whatever reason. This would give us exactly, like, let's say, for instance, this record is inserted twice. We would want to count it once. And again, that I know I keep beating this to death. It goes back to knowing your data. And here we'll use example to do the alias as order count. And this here. Okay, so I know what the issue is here. So let me go down here, add my group by 1, 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to group by 4 different columns. And that should fix this issue. Okay, so you see here, so customer 1 has 0 orders, customer 2 has 1 orders, customer 7 has 4 orders. Again, we know this is distinct orders. Let me just scroll through here, look through this, and get an idea. Okay, so now let's throw an and clause in our join. Let's say, for instance, I'm only interested in, let me see here. Let me come here. I'm just trying to figure out some stuff that we might want to do. Let's say we're only interested in where the order date is greater than September. Copy this here. And this is what it's going to do. So we only want the orders to come back only when they're greater than September. Control V. And what was this? Come back your order dates. So order underscore date is greater than, we said September. Let's do September 1st. 01. Oops. There we go. And this should work. And the only reason why I didn't use a table alias here in front of order date, basically, oops, do I have inst? I guess I have it on. Give me 1 second. I just have to turn off. There we go. All right. So like, for example, the only reason why I didn't specify, you can if you want, the only reason why I didn't specify the table where this order date is coming from, because it's only coming from the orders table. So that's why I did not put orders dot order date. So everything looks good to me. Let's go ahead and run this again. Oops. No such column order date. So how is it spelled? Without an underscore. Let me take that out. And this, bam, here we go. So now we see here we have a few more that are 0. And the reason why they're coming back 0, let's take one for example. Let's look at customer number 7. So we'll come over here where customer ID equals 7. Okay, so over here we're seeing that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 orders. But over here it's saying customer 7 only has 3 orders. Remember our AND statement, we only wanted orders that were greater than September. And we have this order here was not, it was before September, so that's why this order did not come back. So let's go a step further. So now we've used our AND statement, and looking here, now I'm going to do a inner join to another table, and that table will be shippers. So let's say, for instance, we want the shipper's name. So we'll do this like this. So we'll come here and do a join, and we're going to join to shippers table. So now it's getting a little more complex, but it's almost the same concept. You're just thinking it through. So I want to do an inner join between orders and shippers. Let's join on orders, and now I'm doing inner join. Now you can specify inner, or you can just put joins. To make it clear, let me just do inner, but I can not do inner joins. I can not use the word inner, basically is what I'm saying. So we're going to join on orders dot, and what was the column name again? Shipper ID. So we're joining on shipper ID here. Equals, I'm going to cheat a little here. Copy. Control shippers dot shipper ID. And then what do I want from shippers table? Let's say I want the shipper's name. So we have 3 different shipper names. Yeah, so I'll just get the name and the phone number. That should be good. So come up here. And like, for me, I like having the counts or any aggregate values at the end of my queries. That's just my preference. Shipper name, and then I think it was shipper number. And I'll go back to the table and check shipper name and shipper number. Yep, shipper name, and oh, it's just phone. So we'll just put phone, and I'll say as shipper. So okay. And then another thing, we have to update our counts. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not our counts. I'm sorry. We have to update the group. So I'm at 4, 5, and we had a lesson in the past about the group by, since we're doing an aggregate function. So here we go. So if we see here, everybody in this result has a order, and that is because we did, oops, let me take this out. I don't want this anymore. So let's take this out of the and statement. You can leave it there, but you can take it out. And the reason why we're coming back having a basically 127 records is because we did an inner join. So watch this. If I change this to a left join, run this, it's 144. So now, for example, like this person here, since they didn't have any type of orders, everything comes back as null. And if you scroll down here, okay, see here, here's some more folks with nulls. Again, have some more. Perfect. And then we can, let's say we care about the biggest order count. So we can do another thing. Order by 7. Let's hope this works. Okay, let's do it by descending. Okay, so Ernest Handel right here, he had the most orders, 5 orders, and there's right here 5, 4, 3, and then you see here now it's an order of number of orders. Or let's say, for instance, and you can do it any kind of way. Let's say, hey, we want to do it by shipper name. You can switch it up and do that. So again, let's go back to our outline, make sure we covered everything. So we use the AND clause. We select certain columns. We did a left join on 2 tables, and then we did a left and an inner join using 3 tables. So that is, again, it can be more complex than this. You can get into other things as far as doing like a left join based off, like, let me show you guys this. Another way some people do it. It all depends on how you want to do it. So let me show you this real quick. So select, and what do we want here? Oops. Let's do shipper name, and then we can do phone, and then we can do count. And I'm gonna have to change something here. Count of what are we counting? Order D as, oops, as, what does it say this? Order count. I wish I had more real estate here so I can show you this completely without scrolling. Okay, so we're doing this. Let me bring it down here. Select shipper, phone, count, add order, and where are we doing it from? What was this? This was orders table, orders, and then join. We're doing an inner join here. What are we joining to? We are joining to shipper on what? Right here. So I'm gonna take this out. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm putting two, like, since I can, how can I say this? I can group these two tables and just have them in one result. That's what I'm doing here. Delete that. Okay, make sure I have everything. And that one thing I do need here is I do need customer ID from the orders table, because I'm gonna have to join back to that. So, oops, Control V. What did I do? I did something crazy here. Okay, so let me do shipper ID. Okay, so we have all that. We have everything set up. Now I'm gonna alias this. Let me alias this as B. Okay, and then I want to do a group by here. 1, 2, 3. Group by 1, 2, 3. Yep. Get rid of this. Don't need that. So give it a space here. That's good. I think we're good here. So let's join here, and then we're gonna say on. Copy. Customers dot, what was it? Customer ID. B equals B dot. And the reason I'm using B dot here is because I did the alias up here, B. So, and not enough real estate. I really want to make sure that everybody's capturing what I'm doing here. Okay. And here, I don't, now that I did order count in there, watch this. Delete that. I don't need to do a group by anymore. And then I can still have my order by. Alright, I think everything is good here. Let me run this. One here on syntax. Okay. So let me see where I messed up at. So we have our left join from, and we join on customer equal B, customer ID. This is good here. I'm gonna test this in another window. This here. Okay. So what did I do here? Oops, look at that. I thought I deleted that, but I guess I didn't. Let's delete that. Let's run again. And biggest comment, here goes that error that you get sometimes. Shipper ID. Where did I do that at? Is it up here? Yep. Let's take the orders. Oh no, let's take the shippers. The shippers. Let's take my S off words. Okay, shippers. Let's run that. No such column as b.customer ID. I really did that. So what's happening is this wasn't found. Control copy and this table. So I need to bring that back. I thought I added it, but must have deleted it somehow. And then here we go. So scroll down here, and here's the zeros. Where are you guys? Here we go. Not zeros, but nulls. So that's another way you can do it. Again, this is a more complex way. Sometimes I have seen this before, depending on the table size and a lot of different conditions cause you to do it this way. So this is another way. It kind of simplifies it a little bit and cleans it up a little bit. So you have your left join here, and basically this left join has an inner join inside of it based off of two tables, and then you just join it back here. So those are different ways you can do it. I mean, whichever way you're more comfortable with is the way I'll suggest you to do it. There's not a wrong or right way as long as you get the right results. So again, definitely practice as much as you can. Practice these because when you're dealing with writing queries, I'll say 90% of the time you're going to have to do an inner join on something, depending on how the tables are built. And so you definitely want to really get a handle on joins. They could be challenging at first, but once you keep practicing and doing it over and understand the data you're dealing with, they become very easy to manage. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Next time we'll be talking about right joins, and then we'll be doing how to self-join in SQL. So have a good day, everyone, and thanks for watching.